How are you doing? I want to talk to you about limiting beliefs that I'm seeing. I've had a few like new consults coming through lately, and also people I've been coaching for a long time, and also even myself, I realize I'm still doing this where we think a thing, our brain send us some thoughts, and we just take them for granted. That's just how it is. And when we think these thoughts over and over, they become beliefs. They just are something we truly believe. It's just true. That's just how it is. But they limit us in our growth because we think these things and we truly believe they are true. We don't challenge them and then we don't do anything about it. I'm going to read up a few limiting beliefs I've found lately in clients and in consults I've had and see if you recognize yourself in any of them. I am not a good businesswoman. This is a self-employed vet. I am not good with money. I am not good with people. Soul charts makes me doubt whether I'm doing the right thing. I am not experienced at them, and people say that about dentals. People say that about space, about anything. I'm just not experienced at them. I'm going to make more mistakes than the other vets do. I am not worth it, charging for our services specifically. Even if I do this, it's not going to be optimal. This thought is specifically when people try to change, like trying to change maybe time habits or something else, and their brain is telling them, well, it's not going to be optimal anyway, because in the beginning it's obviously going to be a bit wobbly when we change, so we don't do it because it's not going to be optimal. It's not working or it's not going to work. I am not motivated because I'm not going to be good enough at it. So this is when someone goes into a training or tries to get better at something, they're just not motivated because they're already telling themselves they'll never be good at it. No matter how much I study, I am never good enough. I still haven't figured it out, and I can't believe I haven't been found out yet. This is like literally imposter syndrome, right? Like you go to work and you think, like, I'm the only vet here who hasn't figured everything out, and I can't believe everybody haven't realized how bad of it I am. And I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start is such a limiting thought because it will literally stop you from starting anything because you keep telling yourself, I don't know where to start. I feel overwhelmed. And then you don't make any changes towards what you want to do, right? Because you don't go to a new clinic, you don't take this certification you wanted to do, you don't try to get better at something, you don't start losing weight, whatever it is you want to do, because you keep telling yourself you don't know where to start. When it's literally just starting somewhere, it doesn't really matter, right? The the thought I am not experienced at them or I'm not experienced at something in general, that is so funny because then when you ask people, so what is experience then? That how many would you have to do to be experienced? When you start putting the numbers in and say, how many have you done? It's very difficult for people then to keep saying I'm not experienced at it. But we get this thing in our head that experience is someone that does like 4 dentals a day for a year and then you experience the dentals. When in reality, dentals is just sitting down, start doing it, and then get some advice on the way, right? Or YouTube, how to do a blog or whatever, no? Um, I also love the limiting beliefs. I'm going to make more mistakes than other vets do because you just go in assuming that. You assume you're worse than the other vets. You just go to work and you just have this thing that this poor pet, it's just going to be much worse treated by you because you're going to make more mistakes than the other vets do. So they should just do it all and you shouldn't do them. You should basically just clean the washing machine out. I am not worth it. That is so toxic. That is a belief that I see in a lot of ways in self-employed vets, or when you have to charge for any imaging, or when you have to charge for a consult where you don't really feel you got to the diagnosis. And then we say, oh, well, I'm just not worth it. And there's so much in that little thought. I am not worth it is literally like what, 4 words? And it implies that not only is the value you're giving to the client not worth of the money you're giving them, but also like you are not valuable as a person. They, like thinking that I am not worth it, that is, I will just bring you down every time. Or it's not working. Whatever you do, you're doing something, you're trying to get better at something, or just your job in general, or whatever it is, or your relationship, and you're thinking it's not working. That is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Most of these limiting beliefs are self-fulfilling. So if you're telling yourself, I am not good with money, then you are just always never going to be able to save up money or do what you want with money because you always have that thing in your brain, like I'm not good with money. So why should you even try to save up, ask for a raise, invest, whatever it is you want to do, right? Because you're not good with money. Just like I'm not good with people. If you tell yourself I am not good with people and you just believe that, you're never gonna be any better with people because you don't make an effort to, I don't know, take a communication course or find out like, well, how can I be a better listener, or how can I do to not feel so judged with people, or how can I learn to set boundaries so I don't let them suck so much energy from me. You just tell yourself not good with people, and it's a bit like boom. It's a bit like Bruce, my husband. He tells himself I'm not good with languages. So despite living, I don't know how many years in Spain now, and now I was living in Denmark, like all he speaks is British. Like he doesn't like speak very, very few words in Spanish because he tells himself he's not good at languages. That's just I cannot like coach him out of it. And if you ever try, don't ever try and coach your partner. It does not go down well. Let me just say you this. I've learned this. So I cannot coach him out of it. And he doesn't want like any help. So he tells himself, I'm not good with languages. And it's exactly the same as saying, I'm not good with people. I'm not good with money. I'm not a good businesswoman if you're self-employed, like if you're locum or whatever. All those like I'm not good at, I'm not good with, that you just interiorize that and you really believe that about you as a person, as a vet, as a business person, as a money making person in your family. And that means that when you have limiting beliefs, it means that you believe that's the truth. Just like I say, the sun is hot or the sky is blue or I weigh 78 kilos. That's just facts, right? But the limiting beliefs are actually not true. It's just something that we have thought over and over. And then because I've thought it so many times, and every time I think something, my brain goes into this confirmation bias where it wants to confirm that, yes, what you think is true. So we go looking for that, and then it will prove all the evidence that you're not good with people. And I'm absolutely sure. So I consider myself being good with people, but I'm sure that I've had situations that have been awkward, or there hasn't really been chemistry, or people haven't really liked it, or I don't know, I didn't know what to say or something. But I just don't focus on it because I believe I'm good with people. So I'll just brush it off and go, oh, that was weird, never mind. But I'm sure that I probably have as many weird interactions as you might have. But if you think you're not good with people, you'll just over focus on that and like all the evidence and here we go. And, I'll like give it a lot of importance because it seems important. No, it's just like you're cementing that belief. And it becomes a limiting belief that stops you from advancing. It's not working. That is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you feel like you become a vet and the clinic you go to, like something is just not working, right? Like either the shift you have or the way you work with your colleagues or the jobs you're giving, like surgeries, dentals, consults, whatever it is, and you feel like it's just not going really well. You're feeling a bit like you're working a bit like driving with your handbrake on, and you tell yourself, it's just not working. It's not going to work. It's not working. And you just stop there. It's not working. Instead of saying, I wonder why this is not working. Like if you can take a thought, a limiting belief, and you can turn it around to a question, as in, how can I make this work? Right? That's like, then you open up for your brain and your brain starts looking for possibilities to make this work in this clinic. So I really want to work in this clinic because the salary is amazing. I only have to drive 10 minutes, whatever it is you like. But there's things in that are not working. You can't with management or whatever. There's a nurse you don't like, whatever it is. You feel it's not working and you just say, it's just not working. It's not working. This is not going to work. This is never going to work. If you say this, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and you will not make it work. But if you can ask yourself, how can I make it work? How can this work? How could I make this work? And you ask yourself instead of just confirming that limiting belief, that's when you can then move out of it. I was, for example, coaching a vet the other day that had moved to a new region in the country, and she wanted to make X amount of money a month, to support herself and support a partner and, have enough money. And she was like, I need so many clients, I need to charge this. And then she's like, but in this part of the country, people are not posh and they're not going to want to spend that amount of money. So in this part of the country where I have now settled down as a self-employed home visiting vet, people are not going to want to pay for my services. And there's also a bit of the, and I was digging in and say, like, is there anything about your worth as a vet here at all? And there wasn't. So then you have to like peel the layers of limiting beliefs now you have on why is your business not working as a self-employed vet. No, so you would then look at, are you not wanting to charge or making up this story that people are not going to have money for it in this specific region of the country? Or is there like, is that to cover up a story that you don't think you're worthy? And she's like, no, I truly believe I'm a good vet. As when I finished, I worked at some good clinics and I have like a solid base. Cool. Okay. So that's not a limiting belief. But the limiting belief now is that the people are not going to want to pay for it because that's just in the region. And then another belief was, oh, because there's another vet that has started up doing home visits in the same area, so now there's not going to be enough clients for everybody. And then I Google like how many dogs are there in this specific region, and there was like 170,000. I'm like, I'm sure there's going to be enough for both of you, right? But the brain just makes these limiting beliefs up, and it's just crazy how it comes out of nowhere. And it could be like some data you once saw in, last century in a book, and then your brain remembers, oh, people in this region don't have money and they're not going to want to spend it on their pets because that's the type of people they are. And I'm sure there's some people that don't want to spend it, but also like how many do you need as a home visiting vet, no? Um, the other one, like going into something and you think, for example, like that I'm traumatized about ultrasounds. I'm trying to get better at it. But if I went into a course and then thinking, I don't have the skill. I don't have the talent to do this. It's just not something I'm good at. Like if I believe that and I then go in, then I'm not going to be motivated to learn because I'm going to think I'm not going to be good enough at it. The other vets that go in with me at the course, they're going to be better at it. They're going to think I'm weird because I don't know more. And then I'm not going to be motivated to learn. And when you think like that, you're going to hold yourself back. You're not going to come forward like saying, oh, can I try? You're not going to, when they ask, what do you think this is? You're not going to say what you think it is because you're thinking you're not good at it. And so on. Can you see like how these limiting beliefs actually become true? But because you make them true, because you believe them so strongly, you don't see anything else and you just keep down that lane of like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, whatever it is, no? Um, the other one as well with coaching the vet that said like, no matter how much I study, I am never good enough, as if there was some sort of end goal, like you study all this and then now you're good enough. Like, and like in vet med, that's never gonna happen because even if you studied everything you could, everything that was, and you were like 4 hours sleep and didn't eat and didn't even work, just like studied, like as soon as you finish, then they're gonna come more studies out. So you can never study quote unquote enough, right? If you want to study everything, you have to like give yourself a place where you say like, I'm good enough now. I remember, and it's so funny, like how I burned down as a vet, burned out because I felt overwhelmed. I felt I wasn't good enough. I didn't set boundaries, all these things. And then I found coaching, and then I found myself, and I learned to set boundaries, all these things. And it's so funny. And then because then I went into vet med again, and now I'm just like rolling with it. Get a complaints, I can just like deal with them, process this and the other, all these things I can do. And I believe I'm a good enough vet and all this. And then then I decided to become a coach to coach you guys, not to do this, to coach vets, to help others, pass it on. And then my brain went straight back to the same patterns. And it feels a bit like, how when you work with horses, we say that, okay, so you like finally teach this bloody animal, you put a saddle on, but you always do it from the left side. And the horse is like, okay, I know what a saddle is. They put it on, whatever's going on. And now you try to do it from the right side. And the horse is like, what the fuck is this? I've never seen this in my whole life. What are you doing? No. And I felt this was a bit like me with coaching. So vet med was now my left side that I had all the control. I had my boundaries. I thought I was good enough, everything. And then I came to coaching and my brain was like, we start from new. We know nothing. You're not good enough. And I had to like literally get coached so much. I'm like, am I good enough coach? No, not. And it took me so long to recognize that I was doing it again. It's really funny how brains work. And then a coach was like, Gunila, I think you're just gonna have to decide you're good enough as a coach because this like you're not good enough and it's not working. It's just not, you can't go in coaching someone thinking I'm not gonna be able to help them because it's just not like it's not gonna help you. You're gonna have that self-doubt. Just like when you're a vet and you have that self-doubt and you don't come across as someone you can trust as an owner, right? So nobody would like trust me as a coach if I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can help you. Ooh, like I have to trust that I'm good enough. And of course I will say if like someone comes on a consult and I can see I'm in over my head, like these people like the problems they have, I'm just not that I'm not it, right? You need therapy, or maybe you need a specific like confident coach, or you need like whatever it is, like a career coach. Like I'm not it. I'm happy to say, but I do believe like I'm a good enough coach. Like I can totally coach anybody, but sometimes you just need something else. But that's irrelevant. But the thing is like thinking that I'm not good enough, like I have to study more or I have to be more experienced. there's so much limiting belief in there that will stop you from becoming better and will stop you from enjoying your life as a vet. Um, Also, the like, I'm gonna make more mistakes than the other vets do, just assuming that everybody else are better than you because they seem more confident or they don't maybe express as much self-doubt as you do. And then you're like, just assuming that. Um, even if I do this, it's not gonna be optimal as well. So when for example, I had a vet that wanted to get better at like plan her time in and out of work. And like every week we'll meet again and she still hadn't planned it. And I'm like, what? Why is it? Like I don't it's not like I give homework and then my clients, if they don't do it, I get mad at them. But I was like, it is interesting because you do want to have more time, but you seem to not like you don't have the willingness to do it. So there's something like what your why is not strong enough, or there's some belief here that stops you from wanting to optimize your time. And we found the limiting belief, and it was like I had to dig a bit to find it, and it had just gone over my head before. I just hadn't realized that she had this like, if I do this, it's not going to be optimal because in her head she couldn't figure out ahead of time, like, I'm going to plan it like this, but it's not going to be optimal because I'm going to get interruptions or things are going to come up or my daughter's going to get sick and then it's not going to work right. And this was the black and white thinking, the all or not or nothing thinking that vets go into, where we're like, well, if it can't be 100% fine, like perfect, then I'm just not going to do it. And everything you do when you're trying to improve something like time management, your money mentality, your mentality as a vet, surgeries, dentals, whatever it is you want to do, leader management, you have to start somewhere, right? And you have to, when you start this process, like you have to accept that it's not going to be perfect in the beginning. But it's somehow like, it's funny because we go into vet school and we obviously don't go in the first day expecting to do neurosurgery, right? Like we're happy just like starting with anatomy. It's like, what is a hoof? But then when we become vets after that, like we've gone through vet school, then it's something, there's this like pressure to thinking that if I start something, if I do something, it has to be perfect from day one. Like we do a surgery, it just has to be perfect. And we have to be just as fast as any vet that has done it 100 times. And it's really funny. There's this change of, the change of perspective we have when in vet school, we're totally happy to experiment and take long and fail forward and all that. But then once we adults, quote unquote, and we are in the real world, then we can't fail and we can't be slow and we can't learn bit by bit. And it applies to everything. I see it a lot with people like changing habits, changing their time management, trying to become better at something. They really, really they struggle to first of all start because they might have the overwhelm, like I don't know where to start. This is a limiting belief that comes from your brain trying to protect you because it doesn't want you to fail and it doesn't want you to be rejected by the tribe. So if you want to start something new, like learn something new, lose weight, manage your time, start CrossFit, get better at ultrasounds, doing bit space, doing dental, become a clinical director, low coming, whatever it is you want to do, and you notice the limiting belief, I don't know where to start, and you just notice yourself procrastinating over and over, you never really start on this thing because you can't find the motivation. It's often because your brain keeps you confused because it doesn't want you to get disappointed in yourself because you don't trust yourself. You don't want to initiate this learning. You don't want to initiate this process because what if you do it and then it doesn't work and you don't know how to do it? And now you're like super disappointed because you tried and it didn't work. Or maybe you got rejected by the other vets because they realized you weren't good enough. So they don't know where to start. That is like 100% lie. Like any, in general, and the limiting beliefs, what really characterizes them is that they make you feel bad. They make you feel a bit useless, worthless, slow, not experienced, not good enough, not fast enough, not funny enough, not people person enough, whatever it is, not smart enough. Like any limiting belief will not make you feel good. It will be the contrary. So if you notice yourself, and this is like the summa summarum of what I want to say, is we don't know we have the limiting belief. And even me as a coach sitting on the other side, hearing you talk, I have to be like sharp as a squirrel to catch them. Like you'll say it and I'll be like, wait, what? Like, can you just say that again? Or like I type it out and I'm like, wait, say that again. And you say it and I'm like, that's the limiting belief. You really believe that, don't you? And we just say so naturally, just like, oh, the sun was shining today, or I bought a latte on the way, I put shoes on this morning. And then boom, like I'm just not good enough, or the others are just more experienced than me, or I'm just not that such a good driver. You will just say it, and I have to like really be on top. Like I cannot like be distracted 1 second when I'm coaching because these limiting beliefs just like pop up and disappear, and I have to catch them because they are the ones that will make you feel bad, but you don't know that you're thinking them. So when you have any of these feelings of inadequacy, stress, anxiety, feeling low, feeling useless, feeling worthless, whatever it is, you've got to find the thought, the belief behind it, and then you have to challenge it, right? And you can definitely do this by yourself by journaling. I cannot like recommend it enough. I don't know if you saw, God, I don't know her name. So this female skier we are now in, as I'm recording this, we're in February 26th. There's this young 22-year-old female skier that gets interviewed, and she just like, this is male journalist that asks her, so you got 2 silver medals. So how do you look at it? Is it like 2 golds lost or 2 silver wins? And she just like slays this male journalist because she's so fucking clever. I think she studies at Harvard, astrophysicist or something. I don't know. She's super clever. But what she says is like she journals every day. And she journals, which makes her become a watcher of what she's thinking. And because she's so young, she realizes that what we think is what we become. So she wants to watch what she's thinking so she can decide what kind of person she wants to become at 22. Imagine having that, like so much self-awareness. I was like almost crying listening to her. I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. And you know, she's won like 5 medals at the Olympics already and she's 22. So it must be working, right? So I'm not saying by journaling you're going to win medals at the Olympic, but you are for sure going to become a happier, more motivated, more content, more confident, more joyful person, less anxious, less stressed, less always running around, less doubting yourself. I can tell you that with journaling because you're going to catch the limiting beliefs. You're going to be like, oh, you know, my boss told me off because I didn't charge for that ultrasound I did. And I didn't charge it because I didn't think I had done it well enough. And then when you actually see it down written, you can then challenge it. When you write down, I'm not good enough at doing ultrasound, you can say, okay, but like, you can check for free fluid. You can check if there's like something weird in there. Has it got a full bladder? You know, the things you can do. I'm just talking for myself with my my ultrasound skills, non-existing. And so I've stopped telling myself I'm really bad at ultrasound because then I feel like really resistant to doing them because it's not going to be worth it. But like I've diagnosed a few like splenic masses, uh, bleeding abdomens, weird tumors on the heart, you know, like weird stuff that if we hadn't had an ultrasound machine and I hadn't done the ultrasound, that dog or cat would not have been diagnosed, right? And we couldn't have helped it. So I digress. When you do the journaling and you write down whatever's making you feel bad, you can then look at it and you're like, and then what I want you to ask yourself is like, is this the ultimate truth? Am I not worthy? And have I not got enough value as a vet with my ultrasound skills that I should charge absolutely nothing for them? Is that like a little kernel of true in my manager being a bit mad at me for not charging for them? Or if you write, oh God, I got 3 dentals tomorrow and I'm really worried because I'm just gonna make more mistakes than the other vets do. I'm gonna leave roots in. And you're reading that and you can see that you're saying that. I'm like, is it really true? Like what magic have the other vets got that you haven't got? Like, can you maybe just take a little more time? Can you can you do dental x-rays to make sure the roots are not in that? How do you know the other vets don't leave roots? And like, what is it about you that makes you so special that everybody else make less mistakes than you? You know, like you can really challenge it. So that's what I really want you to know about limiting beliefs. Like when you feel crap for whatever reason, there's often a thought in there. There's a limiting belief, a belief that's limiting you from being a happy, joyful, motivated, content, confident, relaxed, calm, happy vet. That's a limiting belief that's stopping you from having that, right? And I know that sometimes I go on Reddit sometimes to coach just because I also want to see like what people are going through. And I just try to help as many people as I can in the profession. And sometimes I do look at some working conditions. I'm like, you get paid what? For how many hours at, 10-minute consults? Sometimes working conditions are ridiculous, right? And people are asking way too much of, especially new grads, or we are in a place where our boss is gaslighting us, or the toxicity of the nurses, like the gossip is just unbearable, or it is a place where the clients have just not been educated properly and just like argue every bill, whatever. You might be in a place that's not very nice. But if you have a limiting belief that you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you make a lot of mistakes, you're not going to think that you are worthy of a better workplace than that. And you might also stop yourself from going to a new clinic because you're like, I don't know where to start. Now I have to make a CV, and the new place might or not even be optimal, you know. So if you don't do the work on yourself, if you do the work on yourself, if you discover the limiting beliefs, if you can work through them, realize they're not true, and like find something better to think, you know, and ask yourself some questions about how can I make it work? How can I have better skills? If you do that, then you will also come to a point where you like feel so grounded and calm in yourself and so confident that you're like, wait a moment. I mean, I'm not the problem here. Like, actually, they are the problem. I don't want to work here anymore. And then you leave, right? But the problem is if you're not feeling confident, you don't feel grounded, you believe all this shit about yourself, then you stay because you believe that you're not really worth anything else. And that's just how it is. And also, you're not willing to experiment or do new things because you have this belief that unless the next place is 100% perfect, then what's the point in leaving? Instead of like maybe moving around a bit and just giving it a bit of a, you know, a wriggle in your life and find some better conditions. No, like maybe I want to do emergencies instead, or maybe I want to become self-employed, or maybe I want to move somewhere else, whatever it is, right? But you don't do that if you have a lot of limiting beliefs about yourself. It's like living in a cage when you have so many of them. And I absolutely love rooting them out. And I feel like it is literally like a hawk where you have to like look at all the little sparrows flying and then ping, there it is, the limiting belief, pluck it out. And I present it to you. And it's so funny because people are just like, oh my God, you're right. I hadn't even noticed I was thinking that. And I know when I was being coached in the beginning and I had no clue about my limiting belief. And the coach would be like, so you believe such and such? And I'll be like, yeah, because that's just how it is. And they'll be like, but why? And then they would like dig into this limiting belief. And I would be like, oh yeah, what? Why am I thinking that? It was so funny. Like it really blows your mind. And that's one thing I love about when I have consults because people come on the consults and they come in and you can see the body language is like, this is my last chance and I don't know if I want to be a vet anymore in this situation. And I'm just like, and they have two or three like really bad beliefs about themselves. Like, I'm not good with money. I'm not good with people. I'm not experienced. I'm not worth it, for example. You have like these four, just like as an example, no? And people come in and they say that. I'm like, yeah, but why is that though? Like, is that the ultimate truth? Why would you think that? Or I just pull data down. No, I would literally just like, they'd be like, oh, you know, because you can only earn so much money here, or people will not pay for this, or clients in this area don't have whatever. And I'll just like Google number of dogs in your area, and I'd be like, well, there's 200,000, so I don't know where that comes from. I would just like completely explode the limiting belief that just had settled in, and people hadn't even noticed it. No, so that's one thing I really like about consults, because once you've been coached by me for a while, you kind of know that I'm going to do this, but in the consults, people don't expect it, which is so funny, you know? And it's like this aha moment, we just see the brain go, and so this is what I really want to say as well. Like, I really want to invite you to come to a primary consultation with me. And I had one the other day, and I just directly asked, I said, do you want like help with a specific problem and I coach you on it? Or do you want to have like more of a roadmap and then we can talk about working together if you want. So it's not like you come on a consult and then I'm gonna like force you to work with me. That's not the case. Like I love doing consults because I really find it funny to see a brain being coached for the first time. It is such an experience. And people come to me and you're stuck, you're feeling really down, you have like you're super stuck on like a few thoughts that are just keep you in this place where you don't feel like you don't know where to start, you don't know how to move on, you don't think you can't get the motivation to do it because you really feel it's not going to work. And then I just go in like with an axe and go ka-chung, 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 with the limiting beliefs, and then you have somewhere to start, right? And in at the same time you can see how I work, you can see if that chemistry, you can see that it's actually quite fun to work with me, and then you can then decide if you want to, and then I can send you like what would it look like and how much does it cost and stuff. So I really invite you to book your free coaching session, because it works both ways, right? Because when I coach people, also a lot of times like this whole list of limiting beliefs I've just like mentioned to you, that comes from consults and that comes from coaching clients and people I speak to. So this inspires me to do podcasts as well, and it inspires me to do posts, and it inspires me to do my webinars. So I need to do one soon, actually. Maybe I should do one on limiting beliefs. I think that could be helpful. I'll have to call it something else though, because people don't know what it is. Like, well, I don't want to know about beliefs that are limiting. I don't believe that. So I'll have to call it something exciting, like how to feel better now in MedMed. But yeah, so I really want to invite you to come to a free consult. The link is in the show notes, and it's on my webpage as well, GunilaLifeCoach.com, where you can see a bit more about what I offer. Remember, I'm also happy to come out and do workshops. I did some last year that was really, really awesome. I did them in Denmark and then in the UK as well. I will move anywhere to do workshops because I love doing them. And it's just like an opening, where people really realize, oh my God, there's so much possibility. A lot of us, because we don't do this work on ourselves, because we are not all like female skiers with five like Olympian medals, right? We haven't done that work on ourselves. We don't realize the possibilities we have, how many doors that are we can just open around us instead of going down this path. We just think that's just with this one thing we can do, and there's no way, because my mum once said that if you start to become a vet, it has to be this way, right? And we just believe it and we don't question it. So I invite you to come on a consult with me. I would love to. You can book whenever you like via the link. You could check out my webpage, gunilafecoach.com, and check this space. I'm thinking I have such a good, this is like podcast episode number 92, and I'm excited about it because the number 100, I want to do something really, really special, but I don't want to, it's like 8 weeks away, isn't it? So, but yeah, so I have lots of ideas. I'll keep being here for you, whether you want to come to a consult or not. But if you do, I'm looking forward to meeting you. We'll have a lot of fun. We can do them in Danish, we can do them in Spanish, we can do them in English. Joe, and I'm not quite, it'll probably be a lot of misunderstandings. We'll probably spend half the session messing about trying to find out the right words. So just let's stick to those three languages. And it's absolutely free. It's 50 minutes. And like I said, you can get help on a really specific problem, or you can go like, just give me a roadmap on how to move on from here. And then we can talk a bit about working together if you want to. But I'm not going to like ever like talk somebody into or convince to work with me, because either you like it or not, or maybe you got what you needed just from one session, right? Or maybe you get what you need and then 2 months later you're like, I think I want a bit more help, and then you come back and then we sign up together or whatever. It doesn't matter. I just love working with you, whichever which way. So have a lovely rest of the week. I hope this was helpful. And oh my God, yeah, I would love it if you would message me on any of the social media. You can feel like there's link for the podcast. Well, or you can even comment below if you're on YouTube with like feedback and questions. And I would love you to tell me if you do some journaling and you discover your limiting belief. I would love to know what it is. And then I can riff on it on the next podcast, anonymously, of course. Okay, take care. Bye.